Good morning, Bellows Falls, and welcome to the feed. We're just discussing inappropriate humor. Maybe we'll get there today. It's July 11th. Today our guest is Dr. Temple. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, the Prouty and cancer research and chiropractic and you name it. We're going to talk about it.
We're talking about it today.
But
I was told to bring 25 minutes worth of stuff.
well, and we're down to 24 minutes and 30 seconds. We're almost there.
Talking fast.
Okay, but first we want to do talk about local events with Marty.
Yep, just reminding everybody that the Great River Theater Festival is still going on. There's 2 plays going on this week. There's still Scenes of American Life. That's happening at the Horowitz Center at Vermont Academy. And I believe Puppet Crimes also. Equus is done. If you didn't get
Did
to
you
see
like it?
It was interesting.
All right.
I was very well acted. I like to go to just musicals and just be entertained and have fun. I don't like to have to think.
Yeah, and
that
Equus
one
is
really
very
makes you think.
thought-provoking.
Yeah,
right?
but it was very well acted. The costuming was awesome. So it's only $20 per show. And then if you haven't done the survey yet for the town of Rockingham, please just get online and do it. It's www.rockinghamplanning.org. If you want to say in how the town moves forward, booyah.
What's the deadline on that? Do you
I
know,
don't
or-
know. That's why I
It's
don't.
sort of open-ended.
I have no idea. That I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And then before we get started, we want to do a little clip that we did that I filmed this week. We had Eugene Friesen on here last month, I think it was.
I think it was about a month ago.
Yeah, and he was talking about the workshops they're doing for cello at the Stone Church. Another one is happening this week. There's going to be a concert on the 13th, and we're going to have a little clip that sort of previews that.
Theoretically.
You want to bring us in after that? That make sense? Hey there, I'm Eugene, and we're prepping for a concert next Friday, July 13th, here at the Stone Church in Bellows Falls. And it's going to be part of our workshop, which is about gypsy jazz and Brazilian music. In particular, a kind of Brazilian music called choro music, which is a folk style in Brazil. It's really popular. And what you'll find with all choro music is this amazing little drum played today by our very own Bonnie Anderson. Show us the drum, Bonnie Anderson. So great. You got to have this drum if you want to play choro music. And so we're going to do kind of a jazz tune, a George Gershwin song, Summertime, a short version of it featuring vocalist Liz Rogers. And here it goes like this.
Very good.
The tricky thing about a short arrangement like that is that there's so much to remember. It's almost like easier with a longer arrangement, because you get into a groove.
And there you have it. This Friday
night,
at the
7:30,
Stone
Stone
Church,
Church.
it's going to be an excellent
Yep,
time.
Gypsy Jazz.
I'm always amazed at how they just put that together in like 5 minutes
I'm
before.
sure.
Just amazing. But we
digress.
We want to get to our guest, Dr. Vernon Temple. Thank you for coming today.
Good morning.
And I know you have a lot to talk about, but first we want to talk about the Proudy, right? That's coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about the Proudy and just put out a little information out there and see if we can't raise them some money also. The Proudy started out in 1982 as a fundraiser, and it was a bike ride. And the origin is Audrey Proudy, after a 9-year battle of cancer, succumbed to ovarian cancer. And there were 4 nurses in the unit there that decided to honor her in her fight. And so they put together a 100-mile bike ride and raised money for every mile that they biked. And in 1982, they raised $4,000.
Wow.
Since then, the Proudy ride has raised $33 million.
Wow.
And that all goes to cancer research at the Norris Cotton Cancer Center.
Now, how many bikers typically?
They've expanded it now. There's 4,000
I was going to
participants.
say it's quite
It
large
is.
now, yeah.
But that being said, that they've expanded it so they've got a golf game that raises money all on the
Okay.
same weekend. Golf, rowers. The big one is the bike riding. And they also now have off-track bike riding or trail riding.
Oh, nice.
But they will run 100 miles, 35 miles, and 20 miles.
Oh, okay.
So on Saturday, we're doing the 35-mile ride.
So they've made it more accessible to kind of the average bike rider that can't really ride 100
May not
miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 miles is a long ride. I mean,
It's a bit of a commitment.
we've done the 100 miles, and it's a 5, 6, 7 hour ride, depending
Yeah.
on how athletic you are and how you started riding that miles. But a nice 25 or 35 mile bike ride is a commitment, but it's enough to raise money. And there's a minimum of $150 that you have to raise. And they have it set up very well. If I was asking you to participate in my donations, you just go online at the Proudy and click donate, and
Like it would
You're just
lead you
guided
to
through
your
the
name,
process.
and so it would go under your.
yeah, you
that
can. But
form.
what I'm going to ask today is I've more than met my requirement to ride. But if you do want to donate to cancer research in the Proudy, just go online at www.proudy.com and hit the donate button, and it's self-explanatory from there. And you just put it in your name. I think one of the nurses that originally started the program said, "We all know an Audrey Proudy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we donate to this and we raise money for this." For cancer research, in the hopes that we or our family members never need it, but that it's there for the people who do need it, and they do some nice work up there.
Nice.
So
And where
donate.
is the ride all around the Lebanon, Hanover area? Like how far?
Yeah, they've got several different loops. What they've done is they've created the loop so the 25 and the 35 use the same initial mileage as the 100-mile
Okay.
loop. And there's support stations along the way for the riders to stop and rehydrate and grab a snack. So
That'd be great. So get out there and donate, and if you want to, is it too late to actually enroll in the ride? Because it is really a huge.
yeah, no, I think you could still.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you'd have to work that today, but
Yeah.
you can still donate it. It's the raising the money that
Yeah.
we when we started is to put out the notice that we're going to ride and we're going to ask people to donate in addition to what we donate to make the ride.
Yeah.
So people could go watch it.
You
You
can
could
go
watch the start. Anyway, that would be kind of interesting.
People going by.
maybe the start or the end.
The start would be fun. I think that would be fun.
But they do an excellent job. I think it's important to note that 90 cents of every dollar that they collect in goes towards research at
That's
Norris
very
Cotton
important
Cancer
to note.
Center. So this isn't money it's staying in state, it's staying in our community. The Cancer Center is, I think, one of 49, and it's the only one in New England that we have the opportunity to have there. So it's a very important thing to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hoping we never need it.
Right.
But
Yeah, like you said, but there's so many things so many people that do need it, and so many things happening now. We were talking just before the show you were talking about this genomic treatment that changes. It's pretty amazing things that are happening. So
yeah, I think that if you look at cancer research and treatment, it has changed so much over the years, and it's changing rapidly on how they're going to approach that. So it's a nice support. We enjoy doing the ride, and so it's a nice way to one, stay active. We're going to talk about active lifestyles, but to stay active and get involved in the community and make sure that we've got good health care for all conditions and all situations.
yes,
You have some research that you're gonna report
yeah,
to
we're going
us,
to talk
correct?
about
Yeah. The other thing, and it doesn't come out of the Norris Cotton Cancer Center. It comes out of Dartmouth Hitchcock and Giselle School of Medicine. Just did a research study on the use of opioid drugs and treatment and chiropractic. They now have a chiropractic physician at the primary care unit at Dartmouth
Oh,
Hitchcock.
really? Good.
And the study indicated that because everyone's trying to get away from the
Right.
use of opioid drugs because of the propensity to become addicted or overused. So they looked at patients who filled prescription opioid drugs and patients who had back pain that didn't fill any prescription for opioid
Oh,
drugs.
interesting.
And there was a higher satisfaction with the non-opioid use, and there was less cost. Overall, the patients who saw chiropractic physicians for the treatment of back pain, only 17% filled a prescription for opioid drugs. Those that didn't see the chiropractic physician, about 35% filled a prescription for opioid
Huh.
drugs. So it cut the opioid drug prescription rate in half. More importantly, to the insurance carriers, this is what they're looking at, is it cut the overall cost for those that used chiropractic for low back pain treatment. It cut the cost 75%.
Wow.
Well, I think more important, with the chiropractic, aren't you really treating the pain versus masking the pain? Opioids don't really treat the pain, right? They just mask it?
Correct.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah, so
they
that-
just reduce the pain.
Yeah, so, but you're still not treating the root cause,
Yeah.
where you all get to the root cause, and I think
Well, you
that's
try
an
to-
important, you try to.
You try to return
Yeah.
normal function back
Right.
to the low back.
Yeah.
And there's mechanical back pain and there's neurologic back pain where you have actual nerve root impingement. There's disc back pain. So all of those get treated a little bit differently, but we know that opioid prescriptions don't do anything collectively for returning normal function back to the back. It may reduce pain for a while, but it runs risk. And we always think of opioid abuse of young people, but that's not it. I mean, some people just have a risk of addiction, and these can be moms and dads that start out with just simple back pain, and it builds to where all of a sudden the prescriptions are cut off, and they're out there buying them in different places.
Yes,
So-
that was
That's the scary
that's
part
one
of
of the
it.
scary things that a lot of people are reporting now is that you think it's going to be these people that are there's young people who are heroin addicts that are out playing jazz music at night or something, and then but it turns out to be your parents or your neighbor or
I don't think jazz music would be their music of choice, but just saying.
just say anyway. I'm just making an example, stereotypical behavior, but
Well,
yeah.
I think that leads into lifestyle. Now, there's when you have back pain, we tell patients we treat it in rather 3 phases. One is to get you out of pain. That's what brings the patient through the front door. Is they're in pain. You've got to get them out of the acute pain. Then you've got to do some rehabilitation, and that's where exercise comes in. It's where Greater Rock Fitness comes in. Is to
Shameless
get people
self-plug.
in there. And get them out of pain, get them rehabilitated, and get them strengthened up, and get them into a lifestyle so that they don't stay in pain or continually have it recurring. The recidivism rate of low back pain is high. If you've had back
Incredibly
pain,
high, yeah.
you're 80% more likely to have it again. We can't guarantee anyone that they won't have it, but we do know that with active lifestyle and exercise, that we can reduce the chance that that is going to reoccur.
You can also, what I find personally is I still might have back tweak issues even though I exercise, but they're not as debilitating and they don't last as long. And if I stay with my exercise program, oftentimes it like goes away much more quickly than maybe the first incident of back pain. So I think that's important for people to know. And I tell that to people, exercise might not guarantee, if you've got low back issues, it might not guarantee that it doesn't flare up still, but it's going to be less often and for less pain usually.
Well, what about me? I can't go to the gym 5 days a week and spend 2 hours a day at the gym. What's the level?
What's the level, Dr.
What
Temple?
level
I
of
believe you have some-
activity do we have to? I just can't. I'm not like Jack LaLanne. I just can't spend my life at the gym.
Jack LaLanne was a chiropractor.
Was he really?
He really was.
Oh,
Really?
that's another
Yes.
little known but interesting
Yeah,
fact.
he was a chiropractic physician, and you know,
He was so ahead of his time on stuff. Yeah.
back then, yeah. Well, that's interesting because a lot of people aren't going to go to the gym
Yeah.
for 2 hours a day. It's lifestyle. It's really considerations of what you can do from the time you get up till the time you go to bed, and the type of mattress you're sleeping on, and how many hours you're sleeping, and what you're doing in between. A very brief course of exercise at some point in the day can help with core stabilization. And core stabilization are kind of the core muscles, the ones that keep you standing upright, the ones that help you walk, But it's when you go to the grocery store, park at the far end of the parking lot and walk in. Take a walk every day. A 10-minute walk reduces stress and increases the cardiovascular system significantly.
And wouldn't you say that the bigger factor versus time that you put into your activity is consistency of your activity? So if you could commit to consistently doing 10 minutes, that would be so much better than intermittently doing an hour one day and then not going for, again, like going gun ho one day for an hour because you're motivated,
Yeah.
but then you get sore and you don't do it again for 2 weeks versus eating the elephant a little bit at a time and doing 10 minutes consistently throughout. Like, commit to that. Do you think
And I
that's
think
more
that's what I
important?
mean by lifestyle.
Yeah.
Is that knowing that if you're only a mile from home to work, walk it every day. Lifestyle becomes in on what you eat. I said most of us eat the way our mothers taught us how to cook, and it's taken years to get out of that
Yeah.
routine and to eat healthier. So you have to look at that and see what it is you're buying at the grocery store and what you're cooking and how much you're exercising. I think it's important to set a schedule to go to the gym. I think the gym, as you know, it's as much social as it is physical. It's a commitment that you make to go and take care of yourself. And we really talk a lot about self-responsibility in healthcare. As physicians, we can contribute knowledge, we can contribute procedures, we can treat you when you're in acute phases, but it's really a self-responsibility on how you're going to treat yourself and what you know you need to do and doing it.
How do you, I'm sure you get some tough cases. What are your tips for motivating the unmotivated? You must get some clients who are like, oh, I just can't do this. What do you
Well,
come back at them and say?
I think that some of those patients don't think they can do it, but they can, and they've never been given the opportunity or the education. I can go back. I've gone to the gym for years, but I didn't always go to the gym. And at one point, when you're out of school and you start practice or you start work or whatever job you do, and you start to have kids and you start to eat the stuff that kids eat, and at one point I was 200 pounds, and this body doesn't
Really?
carry 200 pounds very well. And at some point, I somehow made that commitment, and it became a habit. And I can remember days, in my 30s where I couldn't imagine going to the gym twice a week, and now I can't imagine not going. So I think that a lot of patients just need the education that this is what you need to do. I think the other thing is when it comes to gym is they're afraid to come in. They don't know, they think they're going to see a bunch of 250-pound brutes in the
Muscle
back,
guys,
throwing weights around. And I'm sure you self-promote all the time on this show, and that's not what you get
No, it isn't.
at the gym,
It
and it's
isn't.
not what you get at any of the gyms.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
I mean, the gyms these days are very focused on the average person who wants to come in and just try to take better care of themselves.
It really is. I think there certainly are still some niche gyms that might be heavy lifter gyms, or like what you think of with the old Venice Beach days, but not so much anymore. It's really become the average gym goer is between like 40 to 60. That's the average age of gym goers, and they're there for functional fitness. They're there for lifestyle. They're not there for aesthetics as much, although that is a nice byproduct. But they're really there to stay functional, to stay fit. I think, but I still understand that it's hard. It's hard for people to walk in that door.
Well, and I think that you have to, we try to talk about it at a whole umbrella of responsibility in fitness. And I think that when people become involved in their health, and I think it happens more as you get older, because you know more people who didn't do it, and you see
Yeah,
the results
good
of that.
point.
And unfortunately, we see people that are not well. But if they're looking at not just, do I have to go to the gym twice a week, but what am I going to do when I get up in the morning? What am I going to have for breakfast? And then you're committed to that 10-minute walk every morning, and you're committed to exercise 3 times a week, whether it's in the gym or yard work. You have to find something that you like to do. I like to bicycle. Put me on a stationary bike and I can last 5 minutes. Put me on a road bike and I can go to Concord. You've got to find something you want to do and a lifestyle that fits you. And when you start to see the benefit, then the motivation comes, and then it becomes a habit. And habits are what they are. You just keep doing it.
Exactly. And it's sort of funny, because as I'm listening to you, we say commit to do this, and there's almost a negative connotation to it. And maybe in the beginning there's, but I know that you come to the gym because you love it. I mean, you come because it's fun. It's your way of getting away from work for a half hour and talking with people and having a good time. And I think other people see it as, oh, this is a chore, but I don't think you see it as a chore at all. It's
and I think that people who make it a habit to come in don't see it. There's as much of a social event.
Yeah.
I've told Marty in the past, I can't come in on my day off because it takes me 2.5 hours to do an hour and a half workout. But when I come in at lunchtime, I've got an hour and 15 minutes, and that's it. But think about your lifestyle. Think about making small incremental changes, and when you find that you get results from that, and you find the rewards, it's not a chore to do it.
You might find you really like it.
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle that is very healthy, and that's really, in the nutshell, is what you try to do. We treat the acute pain patients, but it also gives us an opportunity to educate along the way about lifestyles and changes you can make, and then specific changes for specific conditions.
And then even back to your original point when you were talking about chiropractic and the opioids, the people that weren't using the opioids were actually happier too, right? Weren't they? I mean, when you looked at the final, the bottom line,
patient satisfaction. There's a lot of studies in chiropractic care that show patient satisfaction for the treatment of back pain is very high. It's higher than
So if no other reason to do it, you're going to be more satisfied with the treatment.
Yeah. And if you look at treatments, I mean, I go back 30 years. It was hard to get a referral to a chiropractic physician, and now they have them up at Dartmouth Hitchcock primary care clinics because it's a very appropriate treatment for acute low back pain, and the reason it has high patient satisfaction is because it has very good results. It gets people out of pain, and it gets them functioning again.
So I just want to wrap up real quick with one little thing that I think is important when people are committing to fitness is meet yourself where you are. If you're not ready to commit to coming to a gym, then don't, but commit to 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day and do it consistently. Give yourself permission to meet yourself where you are, take one day at a time, and then your habit will build.
And the other thing is, get a dog, name him Mile. That way you can
Hold
tell
on, like
people
that
you
one.
walk
No,
a
give
mile
me
every
no, give me
day.
5
There you
mile.
have it.
5 mile.
All right.
So
The-
you can catch. This is our new end
Yeah,
line.
this is. Thank you. Good.
Thank you,
Before
Dr.
we
Temple.
before we close.
Before we close, you can catch a new episode of The Feed every Wednesday. Next week, we have Justin Garner talking about ketogenic diet, part 2.
And that's it. Bye.
That's it, folks, for The Feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV or tell us what you think. TheFeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch The Feed online at www.fact8.com.